Hello again, fellow podcaster, and welcome back to Pod Theory. I am your host, Jason Cercone, and today we're going to talk about how to deal with the podcast haters and critics. It's a pretty sad thing to think about, but today's society is pretty damn negative. Unfortunately, some people will go out of their way to find what's wrong with any given situation. Instead of looking for the positives, which by nature is a frame of mind that will make you happy, some people accentuate even the smallest of negatives, which is a frame of mind that snowballs into more misery and ultimately derails and ruins an entire experience. Today, people have several platforms at their disposal to voice their thoughts, whether they be good or bad. Social media as a whole is the biggest, obviously, but you've also got review sites like Yelp and Google. And most e-commerce sites like Amazon give users the ability to give feedback on any product or service offered through their website. And of course, with podcasts, some of the platforms like Apple Podcasts have the ability to leave a review there as well. These reviews often serve as the number one guide for a consumer's decision on whether to patronize that business or to listen to that podcast. Instead of experiencing something firsthand and formulating a personal opinion, some folks let reviews potentially cost them a good time. To me, that's friggin' nuts, but I'm going to touch on that more here in a moment. While I was preparing this episode for you, I did some research because I wanted to put some statistics to these claims. Here's what I found. According to the website onlinereputationmanagement.com, 88% of people trust online reviews as much as they trust their best friend's recommendations. 80% of people choose to go elsewhere if they read bad reviews about a business online. Customers who have a bad experience are 2 to 3 times more likely to write an angry review than customers who had a great experience are to post a happy review. One negative review online, when not countered by positive reviews, can cost a business up to 30 new customers. And it takes 12 positive reviews to cancel out the nasty side effects of just one negative review. So like I said a minute ago, freaking nuts. Personally, I think reviews should be taken with a grain of salt. And I also believe you should experience something for yourself. One person's bad time could easily be the greatest experience you've ever had. It's all subjective, and you never know how much reviews are embellished, or how much of the truth is left out. Here's a story to prove my point on that. Several years ago, I was a trivia host at a local brewery. When the trivia was over, I pulled up a seat at the bar and was chatting with the head chef, one of the bartenders, and the general manager. After a few minutes, the general manager was pulled to a table because a customer was not happy with where she was sat. Now, she was sat at a table with stools instead of a table with chairs. Her outrage was a little unreasonable in my opinion, but the GM took her feedback in stride, and he apologized profusely for the bad experience she had and comped her meal as well as the guests that she was dining with. This calmed her down and she seemed happy as she left. About a half hour later, we were still sitting at the bar enjoying ourselves, and we looked on Facebook and a new 1-star review popped up on this brewery's Facebook page. And it was from that woman. She completely shredded the place for putting her at such a terrible table with uncomfortable seats. Now, do you think she mentioned how the GM went out of his way to make her happy? No! Do you think she told everyone in that review that she had her entire bill wiped clean and she and her guest ate and drank for free? Of course not. Now, as someone who may look at reviews before frequenting an establishment or doing business with a brand or listening to a podcast, and you see something like that, you might instantly think, oh man, these guys are the worst. But you don't always have the full story. The lesson here is this. Don't let reviews be your only guide. Live a little, experience things for yourself, draw your own conclusions. So let's put the spotlight on podcasting. Undoubtedly, you've received some negative feedback on your show in the past, whether it be through social media, an email, a text, or an actual review on Apple Podcasts or another platform. And while none of us like to see a negative review pop up, how you handle it is entirely up to you. Now, your base instinct is most likely to find that person and tear them apart verbally, right? But relax, breathe, take a beat, and look at what this person had to say. Is there any truth in their statement? Is there something in their words that can help you learn, help you grow, or help you improve your production? What can you do to accentuate the positives? A bad review I got on a past podcast said that my sound wasn't right. They liked the content, but didn't feel the mics were set properly and it was difficult to hear the guest. Okay, I said. That's good feedback, and I'll never let that happen again. Face it, as a podcaster, you're a content creator. That means there is absolutely no way you'll ever please 100% of the listening audience. It's impossible. It's just not going to happen, so make peace with it now. In fact, hit pause right now and say to yourself, not everything I produce will get over with my entire audience. Go ahead, I'll wait. So what can you do to deal with the haters and the critics? Well, like I covered a minute ago, look at what they have to say and see if there's anything you can learn from their words. In a lot of cases, people just want to be heard. So make sure that you hear them. If the review that was left for you is in a space where you can respond, definitely respond. Do not leave that negative review unanswered. Be sure you take time to thank the person for their feedback and let everyone know in that public space what action you're taking to rectify the situation. If you can't respond directly, like if a review was left on Apple Podcasts, for example, take that review and address it on your show. Take time to show your audience that you care about what they have to say, good and bad, and use that feedback to make your future shows better. There's just no way around it. At some point, you're going to piss somebody off. And that's okay. That means you're getting people's attention. For whatever reason, we've become a society that believes everyone needs to agree with everyone. And that will never happen. That's one of the big reasons we have so much friction in our world today. We were wired to have our own thoughts, to make our own decisions, and to create our own experiences. If it doesn't go 100% perfectly according to plan, big deal, not much ever does. Learn from the experience and decide how you want to proceed from there. If someone writes something negative about you or your podcast, address it, do what's in your power to learn from it, and proceed with your purpose. Don't let it ruin your day. Don't let it derail your efforts. Good or bad, a review is just one part of the story. Always keep your head up and always, always accentuate the positives. And that sound you hear is the final bell for today's session of Pod Theory. Not literally, but you get it. How did you enjoy our rendezvous today? If you got as much from this as I did, please take a few seconds to hop over to Apple Podcasts, click that write a review link under Pod Theory, give it 5 stars, and let me and the world know what you dig about the content on today's show. Good talk. I'll see you back here tomorrow. This has been Jason Cercone on Pod Theory.